Welcome back to Hitchcock at Home. Today we are making Cheez-Its. So now Cheez-Its. Obviously the first ingredient you're going to need to deal with is your cheese. So my recommendation, you're going to want to pick a cheese that A, you like, and B, something that's going to really, give you a lot of that cheddar flavor. Of course, you don't have to do just cheddar. I am doing two different cheddars, a white cheddar and a yellow cheddar. They are both the extra sharp because I really want the punch of cheese flavor in my Cheez-Its today. So now this is overall, I think it's a really easy recipe to remember. We're going to use a whole block of cheese, half of a stick of butter, about a tablespoon of kosher salt, about 3 to 5 teaspoons of ice water, and I've just got my teaspoon here to make it easy, and 1 cup of flour. I'm using just a self-rising flour. I don't really think it matters if you use bread flour or all-purpose. Just kind of whatever flour you have in the pantry should work well. Now to save myself some time with the rolling pin, I am skipping that part altogether and I am cheating with my pasta roller. So really quick story. The first time I made Cheez-Its at home, I swore I was never going to do this again. I kid you not, I spent like 3 hours rolling out this dough only to bake them, and I did not have the dough thin enough for it to actually puff up the way and be crunchy the way a Cheez-It should be. I swore I was never going to do this again. And then a few weeks ago, one day I literally woke up and I'm like, could I just use my pasta roller instead of having to roll out? Anyway, so I tried it. It totally works, and I'm going to show you today how quick and easy it can be. So I'm going to start by taking my cheese, and we are going to grate it first. So now if you end up with a few pieces that aren't quite shredded, that's going to be just fine. They're going to get incorporated when they're in the stand mixer. And so now you might ask, why are we using hand-grated cheese instead of buying the pre-shredded bag? Well, the pre-shredded cheese that comes from the store has extra ingredients in it to help keep the cheese from sticking to itself. We don't want that because that's not going to work well with our dough. We want the dough to really be able to stick to itself, and the extra ingredients are going to inhibit our ability to make really great Cheez-It. Now, for our butter, we are only using half a stick. This butter is room temperature. I've had it out for about 2 or 3 hours just to kind of get ready to make this for you. So now to get started with their stand mixer, I have the paddle attachment, and we're going to go and add the butter and the cheese and get it all creamed together. And we're just going to turn this on low and let it do its thing for a few minutes. So now if needed, because the butter will cause the kind of clump up a little on the paddle, you can just kind of use a spatula and get it all scraped out. Because again, we want everything to be really well combined. Just a really nice homogeneous mixture. Perfect. So at this point, our cheese and butter mixture basically looks like a cheese ball. I don't think I would eat it as is. So now when making the Cheez-Its, the only thing you really have to measure yourself is going to be the flour. We're using 1 cup, and I like to sift it. I like to sift the flour into the cup. So the way I do it is I go and put my measuring cup inside my flour container and just sift. So doing it this way helps save having the mess, and you don't get any clumps of flour into your Cheez-Its. Just kind of level it off, and there we are. So we're going to add this not all at once. We're going to do about half and half. And we want about a tablespoon of salt. So I'm just going to do a pretty generous amount here. Just a quick finger measure. All right, lock and load and turn it back onto low. And now as our cheese butter mixture combines with the flour, it's going to start going through a couple stages. It's going to get kind of crumbly first. And then here in a moment, we're going to actually switch our paddle for our dough hook because this will work a little better once the mixture is combining. All right, now let's scrape the sides. And we want to make sure we scrape all the way down to the very bottom. All right. And now let's add the rest of our flour. Now I turned the speed up just a little bit so that way we can let the flour combine and get even smaller crumbles. And I think it looks pretty good right now. So now we're gonna go ahead and switch our paddle off. All right, don't wanna lose any of this cheesy goodness. And there we go. All right, and of course, we'll scrape down the sides again. Now that we have our dough hook on, we're gonna go ahead and add some water. And again, the water, we actually want this to be like ice cold. So I have a few ice cubes in here. Go ahead and add our third. But the dough is sticking together pretty well. So I think we actually don't need to add any more water. I think we're ready to go ahead and chill this in the fridge. Just kind of get it all held together. And pick up all the pieces and give it just kind of a quick knead. So we now have our Cheez-It dough. This is probably more than 50% cheese just because of the volume of the cheese versus the flour. We had about 8 ounces of each. But we're gonna go ahead and put some plastic wrap on this and let it chill in the fridge for about half an hour. While this one is chilling, I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing with my white cheddar. So now, quick note, in between batches, you might have noticed I didn't take the time to clean out the mixing bowl or anything. I'm making these Cheez-Its for just myself and my husband to enjoy. If I was doing this for maybe a gift, I'd probably be doing a double batch of one cheese one day, and then, you know, I'd clean everything up, and I would probably do the same with a different cheese the next day. Welcome back. Our dough has firmed up quite a bit in the fridge. So now we're not going to do all of it at once. We're going to do it in a few batches. So now our Cheez-Its don't quite look like Cheez-Its yet. They really just look like pieces of cheese. To give them that signature Cheez-It look, I'm going to take, this is a kebab skewer, and just the back end of it, so it's not the sharp side, and punch down in the middle. And that's actually going to help me move it to my tray. We're going to do that one at a time to all of the Cheez-Its. So now I know a lot of other cooks will recommend, instead of, because again I'm using a pizza cutter, they'll recommend you use a like a pastry knife or one that has like a cute pattern on it. Personally, I don't own one, and the way these already are, they have this really nice edge to them, and as they bake, that gives you a really cute design and helps with the feel of this is a homemade item. So we have our first batch of Cheez-Its. Now, when putting them on the tray, the only thing you really need to be aware of is you just don't want the Cheez-Its to be touching each other, because otherwise they're going to bake and be like massive Cheez-It and weirdly connected. They're really not going to spread out, but they will rise and puff up a little bit. So we're going to go put these in the oven. It's going to be about 375 degrees for about 15 to 17 minutes in my experience, because I only have one of this big tray. The first round will be 17 minutes, and then the rest of them will be 15, because I'm going to use my other mat and get those ready while this cooks. Our first batch has been in the oven now for just over 15 minutes. We're going to go and pull it out and put these guys in. How delicious do these look? The colors will deepen a little bit. This first half here, these are the yellow cheddar Cheez-Its. These ones over here are the white. And the way I get them off of the pan, I take my handy dandy spatula, and this is a big guy. Get it under the stove hat. I'm gonna grab it with my oven mitt, because this is still pretty warm. Just kind of lift gently. And we're just going to let them hang out over there for a few minutes to cool. There we are. Now my next batch is currently on a wooden cutting board, just to give it some stability as I moved it from the other room. And we're just going to slide that real gently right there. And of course, you can always move these around a little if they move in transit, because we ideally don't really want any of the Cheez-Its touching their neighbor. There we go. These ones will go in the oven now, and they'll be there for about 15 minutes. So now, of course, I'm using my pasta roller today to roll out my dough really thin. Of course, I know not everyone has one. You can absolutely use a rolling pin or even a wine bottle in a pinch. Just know that using a rolling pin is going to take you quite a bit more time. That's the major reason that I'm using my pasta roller, is just because of how much time it's saving me. We're getting ready to switch, and our last batch is about to go in the oven. While those ones are cooling, let's have a taste. So you can pretty clearly tell which is which. We have the yellow cheddar and the white cheddar. And now I did mix everything together in the same bowl, just because I enjoy both of them and I just wanted to have them all mixed. So let's give them a quick taste. Bon appetit. You can hear how crunchy they are. And these are really cheesy. And a white cheddar. Now, I mentioned before, the cheese you want to use is going to be cheese you actually like, you know, in everyday applications. The Tillamook extra sharp white cheddar is one of my personal favorites, and it's probably why I like this one so much. Something else, the ones that have these weird little crevices on them, a bunch of these, just because the crevices there, they kind of are less thick, they kind of toast up a little bit extra. And toasted cheese, delicious. I really think you're gonna love these. Please subscribe for more. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and check out these other videos here.